Berlin Conference was in 1880s, around 1885, 86. All right, this is happening way before that. So the mentality of the people who were in the room carving up Africa was these same people who was carving up the areas that became the Greco-Roman kingdom of that time. Amun? Hellenic influence continued to spread throughout the lands ruled by the Diadochi. Remember, these are the generals. And Greek dedications, statues, architecture, and inscriptions have been found in abundance in every locale. Greek language introduced what? Greek literature into the former Persian Empire, thereby influencing the philosophical thought and writing of the region. And the same held true for the area known as Palestine, where Greek literature found its way into the what? Religious thought and scripture of Judaism. So they were using literature to now influence religion, to now influence philosophy, to influence how the people think. Because if you can influence how the people think, then you can influence what they do. Amun? The great library of Alexandria, Egypt, which they say is said to be started by Ptolemy the First. He didn't start no library, he met it there. They looted it. Right? Became the most important center for learning in the ancient world. Right? They always want to make it seem as if nothing was happening before they got there. But how would they have started a library and they had nothing to put in there? It says Greek theater flourished throughout the lands conquered by Alexander, and the amphitheaters built during the Hellenistic period show markedly Greek features, no matter the nationality of the architect nor the country of construction. One example being Ka-Hun on the edge of Bactria, modern day Afghanistan. So they were using their version of Hollywood to influence the people into what? Greek thought, Greek philosophy, Greek action. This is the same thing that's happening today, whereby you have Hollywood. Remember, Hollywood is the type of wood that they make wands from, right? You can Google it. They have Hollywood wands to put you under a spell. So they use this to put people under their spell. All right, this looks like the fellow who got beat up last night. This is a boxer, a Greek boxer. The spread of Greek influence and language is also shown through coinage. They use their money. Portraits became more realistic, and the obverse of the coin was often used to display a propaganda image commemorating an event or displaying the image of a favorite god. This is what you see happening on the US dollar and other currencies around the world, where those that they venerate, they would place on the actual money. So I'm showing you a system now. You understand? I'm showing you a formula that they used. All right? It goes on to say the use of Greek-style portraits in Greek language continued into the Parthian period, even as Greek as a language was in the decline. All right? This is coming from the Gnostic Files. Even after the rise of the Republic of Rome, and then the Roman Empire, Greek language, attitudes, philosophy, understanding, and overall culture spread from the civilizations conquered by Alexander the Greek and his generals to others in the east and then north to Europe through trade and further by Roman conquest, thereby Hellenizing the entire world of antiquity and influencing virtually every culture of the earth today. So even though the Romans took over from the Greeks, they were still spreading what? Hellenism. Still Hellenism. They were still spreading the philosophy, the teachings, the understandings, the attitudes, the perspective of the Greeks. This is very, very important if you're going to understand how we as a people have been influenced by this dominant culture that is the Greco-Roman culture. Because they just admitted that this culture actually influenced religion, it influenced literature, it influenced ultimately how people thought, how people functioned, right? This Hellenization then gave way to what? Theology. Now we need to understand what theology is, because we got people running around here saying that they go to seminary. And the seminary is teaching them what? Theology. All right? We're going to look in identity theft, one of our parchments. All right? And the question in this parchment is asked, well, what is theology? Because just because, and I'm saying this in love, because we got a lot of brothers and sisters out there who have been to seminary and who have taken the time to learn what they thought was best to teach our people. However, we need to understand that just because you fill out an application and you go to a formalized seminary, etc., 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 doesn't mean that they're teaching you what the Most High Heavenly One had in store for His people to learn. Because the seminaries have been put in place by those who have been Hellenized. Yes? Because the word theo, yes, what is the word theo or theos? It's the word, the Greek word for what? For God. So theology, by etymology, is the science of things divine. Divine according to who? The Greeks, the Greco-Romans. From the Greek theologia, one who receives treats of the gods, all right, by words of the virtue of hope, faith, and charity. So these treats, these were the treats of the Greco-Roman gods. Now, are we Greek? Anybody here Greek? I mean, somebody here may be Greek. Nobody in here Greek? All right. Some people watching may be Greek. So if you're Greek, I understand why you are worshiping the Greek gods. I understand why you have a problem with the treats of the Greco-Roman gods, because they treated you well.
I'm on.
You understand? They didn't treat Africans and don't treat Africans so well. I'm on?
I'm on.
So it says, now what is extremely important about the definition is, this is a Greek word,